it has the potential to immediately diffuse any situation. All you're essentially saying is, this might be unrational, it might be purely emotional, it might not have any ground in reality, but this is how I'm feeling. That's it.
Here's the joke. Never bring up the person's drinking problem while they're drunk. But guess what? That's usually when you need to bring it up. Hey, you're being, unreasonable here.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1902, a great communication practice for when you're stressed out. I came up with this topic because I was looking back at old episodes. And I don't remember exactly what episode it was, but it was the top 5 questions to ask yourself. And we've done that, I'm sure we've done that a handful of times. I think we're in like the 500s or 600s at this point. And one of the questions I saw, and I said, oh my goodness, I haven't talked about that in a minute. And my amazing wife used it recently. It's not the question. It'll make sense when we do it.
Can you share what she said?
Yeah, I will. But let me get there. Try to paint the picture. You can't put the shadows before you put the sun. You got to put the sun first. Then you do the shadows. You got to figure out the shadow. You know what I'm saying? We were talking recently about something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we weren't on the same page and we were trying to get on the same page. And she said, Kev, probably Babe, not Kev, Babe, the story that I'm telling myself is, and I said, oh, I haven't heard that one in a minute. And immediately, guard goes down.
Yeah.
You're not attacking me. You're not saying I'm wrong. You're not saying I'm incorrect. You're not saying anything about me. You are saying the way I am interpreting the situation, the way I'm interpreting this, the feedback, the way I'm taking this on, the way I'm feeling, the way I'm thinking, whatever. Can I help you?
I just have funny jokes in my head.
Okay.
The story so earmuffs for anyone with kids in the room.
Yeah.
The story I'm telling myself, Kev, is that you're a selfish son of a bitch.
That would be a story that one could tell. That's
yeah.
It almost gives you permission to express something that you're afraid to express. I think that's ultimately what it does. Just like when I say, "Hey, can I have a vulnerable share?" What I'm saying, we're gonna be fine. What I'm saying is
what it does, what it does, what it doesn't,
what it didn't. What I'm saying is what I'm about to say to you is vulnerable for me. So if you laugh, it's gonna hurt my feelings. That's what I'm ultimately saying.
I'm past it. I'm sorry.
No,
we got this.
So that's the thing. That's the question. But it's not a question. It's a practice for when you're stressed out. When you are trying to give someone feedback, you can say the story that I'm telling myself is. And essentially you're saying I'm not painting a picture where this is reality. This is just the way I'm feeling. These are my emotions. I'm not saying it's logical. I'm not saying it's true. What the story I am telling myself is you come home from work and you kick off your shoes and you expect me to clean up after you. That might be the story I'm telling myself, right? So say your partner comes home, they kick off their shoes, they throw their socks on the floor, and then they go take a shower or whatever, they leave their stuff out. In your mind, the story you might be telling yourself is, I feel like you don't care about me. I feel like you come home and you aren't thinking about me. You're thinking about the fact that you've completed your day, and now I have to take care of stuff that you don't respect me for. Now, again, this is why relationships are hard, because it takes 2 to tango. So you could say that to someone, and if they're not of a growth mindset, they might literally say, well, that's a sad story, or that's not real, right? So it takes 2 to tango. That's why these episodes are always hard, because the truth of the matter is a great communication practice for when you're stressed out and you have a partner who's willing to listen to you. But again, that's a long-ass title.
My brain has so much. 4 years, relationships, studying them, coaching them, learning them.
That's how you know Alan just starts saying words.
Yeah,
4
doing
years.
them.
Love.
The #1 movie in America. I guess the question I have for you is, I can't even imagine anymore being friends or associated with someone who you couldn't say, hey, the story I'm telling myself is XYZ, and then have them like shut you down.
You're in an echo chamber, man.
I know. Dude,
You're
I
in
know.
an echo chamber.
There are some times where I'll be in situations with people that are like that. Dude, I can't stand it. I can't even stand it. If you're out there and you're going into rooms with people who need to be right, you gotta leave those rooms. That just sucks because you're always going to feel suppressed. A lot of the coaching that I do, you always start the call with, catch me up. How's it going? How are you? What's going on? And they express. It's really important. The suppression of self-expression leads to depression or explosion. We talked about resentment on the last episode. If she didn't say the story I'm telling myself is XYZ, she would build resentment unconsciously, and she would suppress it. And eventually that's either going to lead to depression and feeling powerless or helpless, or it's going to lead to explosion of, well, Kev, I don't know if you know, but for the last 3 months, right, whatever it is. And
well, I don't leave the house, so I don't leave the house, so I don't come home and take my shoes off and throw them anywhere. They kind of just stay where they are for most of the time.
And by the way, if anyone's in a relationship with anyone who's like that, consider leaving them. I'm just going to say this. If someone kicks off their shoes and expects you to pick them up, you should probably leave that person. I'm scared a little bit to share that, but the truth of the matter is that's entitlement. That's disrespectful. They don't take responsibility for their own life. And Emilia's got a client right now. It's so hard. She coaches a lot of people. She's becoming a therapist. Bianca is a therapist. They have a company. We coach them. They coach us. It's amazing. Some of the stories you hear are so atrocious, dude. It's so bad. It's so bad. If you're out there and you're being wildly, like, if you're being treated unjustly. You think it's in your head. You think it's just you. If you feel like you're being treated unjustly and it's not coming from an entitled place, you got to have the courage to confront that. And there's things in the mix. There's kids. What if I had one client, it's like, well, if I were to express that, I'm afraid she's going to threaten to take my kids away. And it's, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They're going right for the throat, huh? I can't stand it, man. I hate it so much. It's like, dude, she is controlling you. And by the way, you're the best dad ever. You're the best dad ever. No court is going to side with her. So at the end of the day, if you're with someone who is toxic, you know it. And I just want to encourage you to go get help. Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes.
It's rough. That's rough. It's heavy. But hopefully you're not in that situation, because this really is meant for someone who's in a growth-minded relationship. Because if you're not in a growth-minded relationship, that's you hear this question all the time. What do I do? I have a partner who doesn't want to grow, who doesn't want to be into self-improvement. It doesn't want to do the work, blah, blah, blah. What do I do to get them to grow? It's like, depends. Right? I'm sure you've seen that more than I have because you coach relationships and couples, but if you brought that, if you were afraid, if when you heard that, you were afraid to bring that to your partner because you thought they were going to laugh at you, there's something to explore. That's all I'll say. I don't know what you should do, but there's something you should explore. I was so excited when Taryn said that. It's like, fuck yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. It immediately, it has the potential to immediately diffuse any situation. All you're essentially saying is, this might be unrational. It might be purely emotional. It might not have any ground in reality, but this is how I'm feeling.
Well, it's
That's
a humble
it.
thing to say.
It's the best. I love it.
The story
I
I'm telling
love that.
myself presupposes you don't guarantee you're right.
Let me add real quick. This is from, I tried to say this in the beginning. I don't think I did. This is from Brene Brown. This is part of Brene Brown's work. I don't know if it was in her TED Talk. I think it was in her Netflix special, but that's where we originally found it. Taryn and I watched that very early in our relationship. I don't remember how long we were together, but very early.
You and I used to talk about this way back. I think I did. State, story, strategy, standards, the S's. And the state is sort of, Kevin and I are in a giggly state. That's why I was laughing so much. Although that just got heavy quick. Standards is, you have different standards. So back to the last episode about resentment. If I have a certain standard for organization and he doesn't, and I'm building that up and not communicating, I could easily say the story I'm telling myself is that you don't care about the company as much as I do because I'm more organized, right?
Yep.
So state, story, strategy, standards, they're all connected. If I'm in a negative state, I'm more likely going to project and build resentment. If I have higher standards than Kev or he has higher standards than me, that causes potential issues. So everyone check in on when you're having these conversations. So I'm assuming when Taryn came to you and said, hey, the story I'm telling myself, I'm assuming she was in a reasonable state. She wasn't coming at you, right?
Nope.
Yeah, whereas if she's overwhelmed, it might be like a trigger. Okay, so state, story, strategy, standards. State is emotionally where are you at in the moment. Story is recognizing that you're not all-knowing, and this might be, you have the humility to say, this is the story I'm telling myself about myself. This is the story I'm telling myself about you. This is my story, the story I'm telling myself about our relationship. And then strategy is, do you do a soft approach? Do you wait for the right time? I was on with a couple earlier, and I said, what do you think is the root cause of this issue? And the female in the relationship said, he just brings it up at the worst time.
Oh, I do that sometimes.
Yeah. And you know why? It's because, I mean, you just did that earlier a little bit. You're like, dude, we should have freaking been more proactive about you going away. It's like, well,
Crossed the line. I was frustrated enough. That's all it is.
Exactly, yeah. Here's the joke. Never bring up the person's drinking problem while they're drunk. But guess what? That's usually when you need to bring it up.
Mm-mm.
Hey, you're being, unreasonable here, right? God, that one hits home. Okay, so state, story, strategy, and then standards. So those four things, usually there's a good state, a good story to tell yourself, a good standard to have, and a good strategy to have in the way in which you approach it. But if you're in a bad state and you're telling yourself a negative story and you have a negative standard or a standard that's way in conflict and your strategy's off, you're about to burn that relationship to the ground, and you better stop, drop, and roll.
Doesn't take a lot. You can work years and years and years and years to cultivate an amazing relationship, and you can mess it up in 3 seconds.
Yep. Jenga tower is what we use at Relationship Talks Coaching. We say the Jenga tower, you can take out one block, the whole thing can
100%.
topple, even though it took you 10 years to build.
Well, and that's why stuff like this is so valuable. And again, this is Brene's work, not mine. But it is something that Taryn and I have been using for years, on and off, obviously, because I completely forgot about it until she said it. But anytime we're having challenging moments, there's always something like this. It's essentially saying, let's try to take ourselves out of it for a second and let's just talk about how we're feeling. Let's not make any assumptions on the other person. Let's just talk about how we're feeling, and then we'll see what's real. Let's admit that we're in an emotional state, and we'll go from there. What's your wrap up before we get out of here?
That was it. State, story, strategy, standards. What of those are in conflict in your relationship, and if so, what can you do about it?
I forgot to do a Thursday. So for episode 1900, Thursday was Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to anybody that celebrates Thanksgiving.
Gratitude.
Just know I've eaten a lot of turkey and many side dishes and desserts. And we usually do a gratitude. Happy Thanksgiving. We usually do a gratitude episode on.
Yeah.
We're out here jeffing.
We did actually share a lot of gratitudes in episode 1900. We
did.
ended
Never
up saying
mind.
grateful for the team, grateful for the listeners. Yeah, so we.
Well,
I
the
think we
story
did a good
I'm
job.
telling
Maybe
myself.
that was unconscious.
Yeah, the story I'm telling myself is we got lucky. That it happened to be 1900 and Thanksgiving on the same day. You did it.
No, I didn't. I can't take credit for
The
that.
story Alan's
No,
telling himself is it was him. He did it all.
It was him. No, I didn't. If I did, it was unconscious.
It's all good. All right. Next Level Nation. If you are, I'm just shutting off my timer. If you are looking for a group of like-minded humans who are into growth and self-improvement and relationship stuff like this, I know there might be some groups where people would laugh at you if you talked about this. That'll never happen in any groups that we are a part of or leading. Next Level Nation is a great place for you, a private Facebook group. We'll have the link in the show notes below.
Change your story, change your life. What? I think I thought that was the end of the episode. I forgot. If you want to come to book club, it's every Saturday. You want to come to monthly meetups, both the registration links will be in the show notes. The next meetup, I believe, is about how to set and align your goals for 2025. No. Nope.
Oh.
It's about core limiting beliefs. There's three main core limiting beliefs. I think in January we're going to do one about setting goals. So December is going to be core limiting beliefs, the 3 core limiting beliefs and how to overcome them, I believe.
It is how to discover and overcome your deepest limiting beliefs. Thursday, December 5th from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We have a digital asset that we created, and this is going to be a very powerful discovery process of what is your core limiting belief. Kevin and I, over the years, have realized that he and I have different core limiting beliefs, and we kind of trigger each other, and luckily we've worked through that well. But it's really been quite an unlock to realize that each core limiting belief has a different sort of recipe of how to overcome it, and that's what that event is going to be about. So the registration link will be in the show notes, and if you want to join book club, that will be there as well.
Boom. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Change your story. Change your life. Next Level Nation.